Okay, this is attempt number 2. I don't know if the frame rate is dropping. I'm watching it and I'm listening to myself. No, that looks pretty clear. I think that looks okay. Why don't you guys let me know how it looks on your end? I am too old to be doing all of this stuff. Usually I have my grandchildren help me out with this, but they're not here right now. Yeah, I think it looks pretty clear, right? Well, how about this? And you could hear me okay? Let me just test my own. You're going to hear an echo for a second. How about this? Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Looks good too. And yeah. Boomer Mike, it's so accurate. It's really accurate. But fuck you. But no, it's accurate though. It's accurate. Okay. I'm glad that that's working. So the bit rate was like 6,000. That's like way too high. So I think that's probably why the video was choppy. Okay. Hit that like button. We already have 2 haters disliking it. I'm taking that personal. Completely unacceptable. So hit the like button. Let's drown out the haters. Or maybe we could just hit the dislike button and like that way it won't matter as much and the haters will be really confused. Either way, it doesn't matter. So we've got like 41 people watching. That's good. I don't want this to be like super, like, I don't want a ton of people watching because this is just kind of a test. Because I most likely will be doing more live streams. But before I start doing live streams more regularly, I have to figure out how to do them first. Because I don't use... great job. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you. It really does feel rewarding to successfully launch a live stream like every other YouTuber on the fucking planet. Okay. So I don't really have an agenda. Maybe when more people get in, we can talk like some politics or something like that. Yeah, so, okay, let me just say, if you want to see some of my live streams, go to twitch.tv/Humanist Report. I don't think I'm going to do very many, but I kind of want to stream some video games. Like, I don't want to stream myself playing video games on the main channel because folks didn't sign up to watch me play video games. They signed up to hear me talk about politics. But if you do want to see me play maybe Sekiro or Blue Fire or something, go to my Twitch channel, because if I do stream, it's going to be on there. I might stream this weekend. Probably not, because I always say I'm going to do something or think that I'm going to do it, and then I change my mind at the last moment, because I don't want to like talk while I'm playing games. I kind of just want to try to enjoy it. But, you know, I think it could be fun. I just kind of want to branch out and do a little bit more. Do you make your beats, Mike? No, all of the beats that are on this channel are featured by a DJ named Rahi. So actually, I don't know if he's a DJ. He might just create the beats. But no, I will not be streaming Minecraft. I haven't played Minecraft in a really long time. Maybe eventually I'll play Minecraft. Cold War, not so much. I don't really like the shooters because I'm terrible at them. And then people who play Call of Duty play like a lot. So they're basically really, really good. So if I were to jump in, they'd snipe me and kick my ass. So I don't know that I want to actually do that. So here's the thing. What I'll do is, okay, we have 79 people watching. So we're back up to... Mike is the worst socialist in history. He doesn't have an agenda. That's so accurate. Okay, so what we're going to do is once we get enough people in here, then I'll share the reason why I'm streaming. I'm actually quitting YouTube, so that's why I decided to do this impromptu live stream. I'm just kidding. I always joke about quitting so much that if I ever do quit, people won't believe me. But look, I just kind of want to shoot the shit. This is a test, and I'll take your questions and whatnot. You don't have to send me super chats. I'll just answer your questions in the chat itself. I will say, though, that one thing that irritates me is if you're using OBS or Streamlabs, you can't automatically like pick up or capture the desktop audio. So if we wanted to watch like a YouTube video, if I wanted to like stream something through my computer, it can't do that by default on Mac. You have to have some sort of a plugin, which in and of itself is something I have to to try to figure out. But I do have it to where if I want to, hang on one second, we can browse Twitter, I believe. I don't know if this is gonna work. Let me try a scene swap. I have to fix it a little bit. So let me shrink my box. So if we wanted to like browse Twitter or look at some text, we can do that. I feel like this is a really cool feature of Streamlabs that you can't just do like automatically using YouTube. Or I don't think you can anyways. So let me go through and look at your comments. I'm just going to double check, make sure the stream is working and that everything is copacetic. See, look at that. We have a huge like to dislike ratio now. The 2 haters that came in, you can get fucked because my people got me, okay? You lost. Okay, let me read some comments, okay? That way we're here and we're making like the best of it and I'm not just like streaming to just shoot the shit. Browse with Mike. That could be fun or incredibly boring. You guys could watch me just do like mundane things like eat cereal or pet my dog. I think that could be pretty cool. So Katie Turk says, play Doom. You know, I haven't played Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal. I think that could be something that's really fun to play on stream. I'm not good at shooters. Like first-person shooters, I'm terrible at. But it's possible. I am kind of going through the Dark Souls series currently. I played Demon Souls, then Dark Souls 1, then 3, then 2. And so all that I have left is Bloodborne and Sekiro. And I bought Sekiro when it was, I don't know if it's Sekiro or Sekiro, but I bought it when it was on sale on Steam with the intent to stream me playing at least some of it. Although you folks are going to be so ruthless because I'm really bad at the Dark Souls games. I love them, but I play really conservatively. So if I have like 1/8 of the way to go to leveling up, I'm too afraid to do like any exploring. So I'll just like grind the low level enemies until I have enough to level up and then I'll kind of venture out. But then once I start accumulating more souls or whatever the currency is in Sekiro, then I'll be too afraid to do anything. So I feel like it'd be boring to watch that, but we'll see. I mean, the game itself is really cool. Play Breath of the Wild. I did actually play Breath of the Wild, of course, and I absolutely loved it. So perhaps I'll do that again. By the way, I thought that I set up to where we can see the chat on the screen. I'm not seeing that. Let me see if I could fix that. Okay. I'm doing this live. So we'll see. Oops. Okay. Let me try to figure this out. I don't know that you can add the text box or the chat box. Yeah, see, I'm not seeing it. I probably can't do it live, so that might be the issue here. Because I have the box in front of me, but when I click on it, yeah, so I have to log in to configure the widget. Let me close that. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll just... Okay. Yeah, I'll do that next time. I think it would be cool to have the chat box up. That's part of the reason why I wanted to use Streamlabs. Nonetheless, I don't know how to figure it out during live. And the fact that we're live in and of itself is great. Wait, hang on. You're saying you lost me? Are you fucking with me? No, it's still on. It's still on. I like the chat not on the screen. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. You know, this isn't like a serious chat. I'm not like... I don't want to talk about anything in particular. Perhaps if you guys had something you wanted to talk about, then we can. More Howard Dean screams thrown in randomly, please. That's actually a really, really good idea. I've just been doing like I've really been hooked on the Donald Trump hiss lately. I've really been enjoying that. I've also been enjoying the Mitch McConnell, like a random clip. I clipped it out, like I was watching an interview with Mitch McConnell, and I don't know, for some reason that stood out to me, and I decided to like clip it, and I use it a lot. So maybe I'll have to switch it up a little bit. My soundboard is a little bit too stale. People tell me that I kind of use the same memes a little bit too much, and by people, I mean like the closest people to me, like my husband. He says that I reuse memes a little bit too much, so I will take him at his word and try to get some new memes, because I swear to God, I can stay fixated on something for like over a decade. Like I still think, like, does anyone remember the 2013 trend of like the screaming goats? That shit is still funny to me. And I'm sorry that you're all tired of it, but I still think that the screaming goats are really funny. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do. So we have a super chat from Subversively Surreal. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. You totally don't have to send in super chats to get me to answer your questions. If you want to ask me any questions, we don't have to do Q&A. Again, this is just a test, hence the idiotic title. And no, this is not me giving a shout out to the Boogaloo boys. They stole Boogaloo from a movie. So yeah. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Yeah, that's a great quote from him. Hiss plus Howard Dean times beta male equals the future. I think so. Like for me, the way that I view 2021 is we're going to see exponential growth of the use of the Trump hiss meme. I feel like I don't know what it is about it. So the original audio that I had for the Trump hiss that I found, I substituted that with like an actual cat hiss. And it fits it so well, and I can't like stop thinking about it. So I want to use it everywhere, but not overuse it. But it's gonna make some returns. I think that the Jesse Lee Peterson beta should come back. I also am really, as of late, I don't know when it's appropriate to use it, but the anime WoW, for some reason, I love it, and I'm gonna try to shoehorn that in a little bit more. So somebody says, can we talk about South Korean politics? No, because I try to stay in my lane. I am interested in South Korean politics. I used to be fascinated with it back when I was in grad school, and I studied a lot of comparative politics. But I'm not going to talk about something on stream if I'm not like confident enough that I won't actively misinform folks, because I think that if I don't know enough about it, then I need to shut the fuck up. What's your favorite music? So I really like rap, trap in particular. I like R&B. I like a little bit of K-pop, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of bored with that. I used to like dubstep, not so much. I feel like rap is kind of just like my default. Hip-hop. Classics, new school. I like a little bit of everything. I don't like country music. I don't really like pop music. It depends like on my mood. If it's kind of like R&B, did I just make that up? R&B-ish? Maybe that's better. Then I like it. But what's your favorite video game of all time? That's really tough. I don't know. Maybe Mario 64, just because of its significance. Perhaps Banjo-Kazooie, because that is like my entire childhood. If I name like a favorite game, it's going to be probably something older. And I think that the Zoomers in my audience won't know as much about it. If I had to say something recently, my favorite game would probably be like Mario Odyssey or maybe Dragon Quest XI. It's hard to say though, because I don't know, Grand Theft Auto 5 is really good too. I'm not sure. So M Sears 101 says, Mike, keep on keeping it real. You do good work. Thank you so much. That really means the world to me. It's hard to keep things fresh, try to be informative, but also entertaining, because politics can be really boring. So I really appreciate you saying that. Question, can anyone recommend a good movie? So for me, I just watched, what's the name of it? Judas and the Black Messiah. It's the movie about Fred Hampton on HBO Max. It was really good, actually. They focused more on like the FBI infiltration element, and I found it completely just like, it was really fascinating. Loved it. Is N64 your favorite video game system? That's hard. It's a tie between Nintendo 64 and Nintendo GameCube, although Nintendo Switch has so many good games that maybe that's it as well. Oh, back to movies. Somebody recommended Parasite. That is such a good movie. I can't recommend that enough. Okay, Jacob Allen says, Mike, I enjoy listening to you and hearing what you have to say because you tell it like it is. Thank you so much. I try to not censor myself. I try to say exactly what I'm thinking, even if it might not necessarily be popular, because who wants to hear someone who's just going to like try to conform their views to what they think people might want to hear? Like, to me, that's not why we listen to political commentators or commentators at all. Like, be real, just say what you think. And that's kind of my philosophy. Although it's not like my views are very controversial or anything like that. I feel like most of my takes aren't super hot. Sometimes they are, but yeah, thank you. Mike, how did you get Nina on? So I reached out to Nina's team, and they got me on. Also, Nina was previously familiar with my work, which was a huge surprise to me. It was shocking to me. And so she accelerated the process and got to come on the program because she said, yeah, I like Mike, which blew my mind. And yeah, that's how I got Nina on. I want to start doing more interviews where I talk to folks who I've read their books. So for example, I just bought Dr. Abdul El Sayed's book on Medicare for All. After I read it, I want to bring him on. I've read like a billion Professor Richard Wolff books, and I'm reading another one, Democracy at Work, and I like to usually display the books that I'm reading on the shelf behind me. I would love to talk to him. I want to talk to more influential people before I start getting into more congressional candidates, because of course I will bring on people who are running for Congress. Yeah, I'll bring on more people as well. I think that this year I want to focus a lot on interviewing public figures, professors and whatnot, people who I find interesting, before we start focusing too much again on the midterm elections. I do have congressional candidates scheduled to come on, of course, but before I dive like headfirst in, we'll kind of take a little bit of a break. So Modified SMG sends a $9.99 super chat saying a little something for the fight ahead. Thank you so much. Look, that's too kind. That's so kind. You totally don't have to send that. And if you can, in fact, instead of sending a super chat, at least for now, if you could direct whatever, dollars to Nina Turner's campaign or aid for people in Texas, that's way more appreciative. You don't have to send super chats to get me to answer your question. Thank you so much, though. It's really kind. I really, really appreciate it. For Real 1992 says, would you appear on Waldorf Nation? Absolutely. Jeff is the sweetest guy on the planet. I love Jeff Waldorf. I actually was on his audio podcast, I want to say last year. I would definitely go on his show anytime he wants me. Love Jeff. We're personal friends, like in real life. Such a great person. Mike, what's your favorite state to visit? That would have to be, let's see. I've only been to 3 states in my entire life: Oregon, Washington, and California. I don't get out much, even before the pandemic. Like my normal lifestyle is quarantine. So out of those 2 states, I'd probably say my favorite is California, because when I went to California, I went to Disneyland, and that was really cool as a kid. But I don't travel a lot. So I have some issues with agoraphobia and traveling long distances. Like, it's really difficult. I get very anxious. So I don't travel a lot. I don't get out a lot. But I plan to. I plan to do more once the pandemic is over. So, yeah. So if you like Breath of the Wild, check out Immortals Phoenix Rising. I beat it recently and loved it. Thank you for saying that, actually. So you know what? I bought Immortals Phoenix Rising on, I think it was Black Friday, for like $30. I haven't played it yet, but I really like the look of it. The art style reminds me of Breath of the Wild, and I want to check that out. That looks really cool. And I think that the Cavernacle also said that it's really fun if you like Assassin's Creed and Breath of the Wild. So yeah, thank you for recommending that. I do want to check it out. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to read whatever pops up. Let me check how many people are watching. Okay, that's pretty good. 205 people. Yeah, that's awesome. I feel bad that so many people are watching when I don't have like anything that I'm going to talk about, but I kind of just wanted to like test the live stream to make sure that I know how to use Streamlabs. So if I play like a video game or something, that it's going to work, and I kind of have like the background knowledge on how to use it. Okay, let's see here. Hi, love and peace from Germany. Hi, that's awesome that you're watching all the way from Germany. I love Germany, and Germany has always been an inspiration in terms of your electoral system. So, fun fact, when I was in grad school, I wrote a lot of papers on Germany's electoral system and the way that they have multiple parties, and specifically the way that they elect people to Congress. I believe it's mixed. You vote for a party and individuals, and for some reason, I love it. Okay, so there's another super chat from Alex D. He says, Hamas is terrible, I get it, but what do we need to do for Palestine to get any justice? That's a really difficult question. I think that replicating the South African model, in my opinion, is what's going to be the most effective: economic pressure. So I do believe that BDS is something that the left should unite behind as a strategy, because it works. Like, there's a reason why there's this concerted effort by politicians in both parties to shut down BDS, because I think they know that that would be effective. So I'd say BDS. That's a really tough question, though, because, there's no magic bullet. There's nothing in particular that will definitely get Israel to end the occupation. So I would say, just like as an American, the best thing you can do is support Palestinians as they lead, and also support BDS. Somebody writes in, let's see, Rank the First Junior says, Nira tampon. Got her. Love it. Love it. By the way, speaking of Nira, she apparently, who is it? It's Joe Manchin. That's the headline that I saw. He's not going to be voting for Nira Tandon, and I find that hilarious. I love it. I love that so much. Joe Manchin sucks, but if he is trying to not confirm Nira Tandon, to like own the libs, to like stick it to progressives, keep at it, bud, because you're showing us. Somebody says, who is the greatest president of your lifetime? Oh God, that's really, really difficult to answer because they're all so terrible. Let me see. I was not born when Jimmy Carter was president. That's really tough. I don't know. I mean, I guess like Obama wins by default because he did the least amount of damage, but he's still terrible. So I don't know. I can tell you my least favorite president, and that's going to be Ronald Reagan. Even though George W. Bush was super destructive and he's a war criminal, Ronald Reagan kind of like catalyzed the current era in American politics. Like that shift back to more laissez-faire capitalism, neoliberalism. He's the one who did it. So I hate him. He kind of paved the way for George W. Bush. So yeah. Okay, so the Mark of Brian says, I've donated $27 a month for Nina literally since she's announced. That's awesome. Can you please replay her amazing ad? If not, it's totally cool. We all know she's amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I can't play her ad because I don't have audio, and I believe that the ad is going to have some copyright issues. But let me just say that the fact that you're donating $27 a month to her is awesome. I did the same. As soon as she launched her campaign, I signed up for $27 a month. The second I saw the email where she announced merch, I bought a Nina Turner sweatshirt. Anything we can do to help her is what I'm encouraging people to do. Like, she would be a game changer. So thank you. We have a new member, Humanist Badger. Wow, that's an awesome look. Hey, I guess that badgers can be humanists as well. Thank you. That's really cool. Let's see. Least bad president of your lifetime. Okay, so Joshua Hunt says, love your videos, Mike. Keep it up. Thanks for fighting the good fight. Thank you so much. I don't really feel like I'm fighting much, accomplishing anything. But as long as I'm I don't know. I guess I'm like a glorified opinion sharer, so I don't necessarily know the utility in that. But if you find it informative, if you find what I do helpful, thank you. I'm genuinely trying to put something good into the world. Sometimes I fail. Sometimes I feel like, I do a good job, but, thank you. That really means so much to me. You guys are too kind. We have another new member, Sleeper Johns. That is really cool. Thank you so much for signing up to become a member. By the way, all of my videos are free. I don't put anything behind a paywall, but I do release the videos earlier to people who are members and Patreon patrons. So if you want to watch it like a day early or a couple days early, interviews I always put up early, then that is the benefit of signing up. But you totally don't have to. Ben Riley sends a $10 super chat saying, please debate Destiny on the student debt issue. He thinks it's not a problem. FYI, black women hold disproportionate amount of student debt and have the least wealth. See a connection. Hashtag Nina for Ohio. Thank you so much for saying that. Shout out Nina for Ohio. That's absolutely correct. Basically, like with the way that black Americans have so little wealth, almost all of the universal economic programs are racial justice issues as well. Like these things won't solve racism, obviously, but this would help close the racial wealth gap. That's really important. In terms of debating Destiny, I don't think he knows who I am, and I don't know that I would be down for a debate. I'm not really I don't know that I'm quick on my toes enough for a debate. I'm open to debating people. I just listened to an hour and a half of a 3-hour debate between Vosh and Destiny, and it made me want to jump off of a cliff. It was awful. It was really awful. I think that Vosh did a phenomenal job. Vosh is such a talented debater. I think that if anyone's going to debate Destiny, it should be Vosh, because he is really quick on his toes. He's quick-witted. He knows how to respond. He kind of understands Destiny. Like, for me, I don't know enough about Destiny's politics. So, I mean, look, I'm open to debating people, but, it's, I don't know, maybe a possibility in the future. I did sign up to debate, I did agree to debate Styx Hexenhammer, who I thought he was just like this edgelord libertarian. Turns out he's kind of a Nazi. And he canceled the debate 3 fucking times. So I tried my debate with a conservative. It didn't work. Because they're flaky as fuck. So yeah, debating is a skill. That's what Loner Weirdo says. Like, for me, I feel like I'd probably be an acceptable debater, but like, what's the benefit of it? Like, to me, debating is kind of like the highest form of political theater. I feel like it doesn't necessarily matter the amount of substance that you bring to the debate. It matters more about how you perform. And for me, like, I really like to think things over for an extended period of time. Like, I'm not necessarily a great orator. I'm more of a writer. I like to really think long and hard about the arguments that I use. So I probably wouldn't be the best debater. I think I'd be fine. Against Destiny, I think that Destiny would probably outperform me easily. He's done this a lot. He's a very talented speaker, even if I vehemently disagree with some of his positions. But yeah, I don't think I'm the best person to debate Destiny. I think that I'd leave that to someone like Vosh. Vosh is really great. He holds his own. I think that Destiny has done really well in debates against right-wingers, and I appreciated him doing that, like de-radicalizing people who came from the alt-right. I don't like that he like turned his ire towards the left, but I mean, that's a different story. I don't watch Destiny enough to like know about all of his positions. So Edge's Dragon says, Vosh and Jeff Waldorf were on a live stream together earlier today. I just caught it at the end, so I couldn't say how their discussion was. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. It's always nice to see independent content creators collaborate on this platform. I think we don't do this enough, and Farron Cousins of Ring of Fire always does a great job at making this point. Like, on the right, you see Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, like all of those folks. They always go on each other's shows. There's a lot of cross-pollination, but on the left, we don't really do that as much, and there's not necessarily a reason for that. It's just we haven't done it. Like, it's not like we're not aware of each other and we don't like each other. Like, we're all fans of each other's work. Like, I love Kyle Kalinske, David Dole, like all of them. Like, I watch all of them. I just think that we need to get better, get in the habit of going on each other's shows. For me, I kind of have like this routine where I record my videos, I schedule them, and so to do something out of the ordinary, it does break my routine. To live stream breaks my routine, and so I just need to get in the habit of like setting aside time to do more things. Although, having said that, next week I will be on the Surf's Power Panel on Thursday. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that yet because he might not want to reveal that, but just a heads up. Okay, so we have some super chats. Again, I just want to reiterate that you guys do not have to send me super chats to get me to take your questions. But if you want to, that's fine. Again, let me encourage you to donate to Nina Turner's campaign instead, or any of the aids for Texas, or like an LGBTQ youth center. Because, I don't want you to feel like you have to pay me to get me to talk to you. Like that, I don't want that impression, but I mean, if you send it in, of course, I'm going to take your question or comment. Okay. Gabe Hunkin says, I'm not from Portland, but I'm here repping the 50 Tree Hillsboro area. Okay. But yes, to your point earlier, it's also critical that we show support to Texas and Nina's campaign. Thank you so much, Gabe. Thank you for acknowledging that. And shout out to Hillsboro. I used to work in Aloha, which is close to Hillsboro, but I drive through Hillsboro every single day to work, and my job was Blockbuster Video, and I love Hillsboro so much. It is a phenomenal area. I love everything about it. So yeah, that's awesome that you live in Hillsboro. My cousin lives in Hillsboro, although he hates me, so I won't be going out there anytime soon to visit him. Shannon J. Brooks says, any insight on how Senate can justify this recess while peeps are struggling? Also, everyone should sign up for Patreon too if they can. Oh, you used the I forgot that. I forgot that I added, so the emojis are custom for members, and I have these cringeworthy emojis of myself, that are really, really bad, but they're funny nonetheless. So I love that you used that. I forgot about that totally. Look, to answer your question, there's absolutely no justification for the recess. With how much work there is to be done, that's just, there's no excuse. Like, there's no excuse at all. Like, I'll give you a comparable example. So, to me, when I was a manager at Blockbuster, I'm dating myself by saying I worked at Blockbuster. When I worked at Blockbuster, I was a manager, and I went home early on New Year's Eve because I had a really long commute. Like, it was a 30-minute drive over really bad weather conditions and whatnot. So I wanted to leave early on New Year's Eve before it got worse, because I didn't want to have to like rent a hotel and stay out there. Because in Oregon, like, when it snows, it doesn't happen very often, but when it snows, basically like everything shuts down. Nobody knows how to drive in the snow. I can drive okay in the snow, but I'm worried about other people being idiots. So I went home early, and then they got swarmed. Like, all of the employees that were there got swamped. They had a line out to the door because it was snowy, and I felt bad. Like, it was my personal responsibility to like be there for them, to deal with all of that large crowd. And so, I tried to make it up to them by like taking shifts for them, working extra hard. I feel like when you are a leader, like, you should have that obligation. Like, you should feel it. Like, you should feel the pressure. The fact that nobody in Congress does, it's shocking to me. Like, I would be embarrassed to go on recess during a pandemic ever. But I mean, these are elites. They don't care. Okay, so Beezus C. Christ says, boomer. Oh, you're calling me a boomer. You're not wrong. You're just an asshole. Play Suikoden 2. I'll look into it. I don't know I don't think I've ever heard of that. It sounds kind of familiar, but I've never heard of that. Okay. Kimmy Rock says, Mike, I called my representatives about the act you spoke about the other day. Awesome. And I think that you're referring to, is it HR 1? I talk about a couple of different bills. One is HR 1, that's the For the People Act, which basically stops Republican voter suppression efforts and expands democracy. I also talk about HR 4000 quite a bit, which is the Fair Representation Act for nationwide ranked choice voting. Either one of those, if you made a call, that's awesome. I love that. Okay. So we have Leon says, Mike, face me in Smash. So Leon, folks, I have to give a shout out to Leon. He's a mod in my chat. He also is the brilliant creator of the Kyle Out of Context videos, which make me laugh every single time. I love them. Leon, I have not played Smash in, I want to say, over 2 years now. You would absolutely destroy me in Smash. The type of Smash player I am was I picked my main, which was Samus, and I just spammed the same attack over and over and over and over. And so against AI, I'm pretty good because it doesn't get smart enough to pick up on like what I'm doing. But real players, they know what I'm doing and they find a way to counter the same attack that I spam. And once I'm thrown off of my game and I can no longer spam that attack, which is usually like the missile attack, then I don't know what to do. Like, I die immediately. So you would whoop my ass. There's nothing to prove. Although, in Mario Kart, I could hold my own. I think you would probably still win, Leon, but I could hold my own. I'm just going to put that out there. So Emperor Sephiroth 2 says, you have to play Smash, Mike. I'm in it now. I do play Smash, or I should say I did play Smash. And I really loved it. I played the latest one. I don't remember what it's called. Is it Ultimate? Yeah, I played it on Switch, and that was my first Smash. I played through like the single player campaign. I really liked it. Okay. Leon says, Mike, face me in Mario Kart. Okay. I would be down to face you in Mario Kart, although I still feel like you would beat my ass. Root Crane says, could you beat Joe Biden on Mario Kart? Anytime, any day, I would absolutely BTFO Joe Biden in Mario Kart. I could probably even beat Joe Biden on Smash. He doesn't stand a chance. So yeah. Pie Disliker, hey buddy, says only took Mike 6 hours to get the live stream going. Well done though. Thank you so much. I swear to God, I'm not meant for this generation. I I am so bad at figuring out technology. And even this, like, to phrase it as figuring out technology, like that's such a boomer thing to say. But yeah, so here's part of the problem. I used to know how to live stream somewhat competently, but then YouTube changed it. Like, they rolled out the new YouTube Studio, and like when you start like getting adjusted to something, as soon as they change one thing, like move one thing, it throws you off. It throws me off. And so I don't think that I've live streamed since they moved to the new Creator Studio. So like going through the menus, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what the fuck I do. Like, how do I even start a live stream? And it makes me feel better that Kyle said the same thing. Like, he did a live stream like a month or so ago, and he's like, I couldn't figure it out. Kyle and I are both like boomer brothers, like boomer energy through and through. But you know what? You just got to roll with it. I probably shouldn't have my own show, being this like stupid, or at least have like a producer or something. But yeah, we're here and we're live. We did it. Like, in and of itself, that should be celebrated. And I feel like I competently have some like cutaways set up. So for example, if I have to go pee, which I will soon, I have a be right back screen. We'll test that. Like, how cool is that? Like, I feel like that's the coolest thing in the world. It's almost like, a TV show or something. This is why I do things pre-recorded, because it's easier. And also, if I fuck up, if I say something that's incorrect, then I could just re-record it. I'm a boomer and I'm trash at technology. Solidarity all the way, comrade. Nicholas Garcia says, can you talk about the PRO Act? It is a massively important bill that would empower labor rights. It is a nationally endorsed campaign in DSA, part of their Green New Deal campaign. I'll look into it. That doesn't sound familiar to me. Let me just Google that real quick. I haven't heard of that, unless I'm just not recognizing the acronym. The PRO Act. Oh, and it passed the House as well. Okay. So this, let me make sure this is the correct. No, that's the last session. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm gonna save that so I kind of know to look for that, because yeah, I wasn't aware of this. Okay. Shannon J. Brooks says, also, I totally worked at Blockbuster, and DVDs just literally were the rage. Also, you should have an intern. That's awesome. Yeah, I liked my job at Blockbuster. And I say that, okay, when I was working at Blockbuster, I hated it. And the customers made me want to die. But now that it's over, like, all of the people that I worked with, I'm still friends with them. It was like the good times. I also worked at Subway, and I still have dreams that I'm making sandwiches at Subway, and you have like these Karens that are like screaming at me because I didn't put enough mayo. I still have dreams. It's been over 10 years since I've worked at Subway. It still haunts me to this day. Still friends with everyone who I worked with there as well. But okay. So Vosh is good. This is a super chat from Ben Riley. Vosh is good at rhetoric, pathos, and ethos. Destiny argues like a logician, like my cousin Vinny. If you reach out to Riley Grace Rishong, you'll probably understand or perspective philosophy. Nina for Ohio. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I do agree. Vosh is phenomenal at debates. And yeah, Destiny does have a very specific way that he debates people. He is comparable to Ben Shapiro in that he talks really, really fast. So while hypothetically, if I were like talking to Destiny, it would take me like 2 minutes to make a point that he'd make in like 10 seconds. And that's really that takes talent. Like, putting aside his political ideology, which I disagree with, he is talented in terms of speaking. So I do agree, like, different styles of speaking is it makes a difference. So I'm trying to read the comments and talk at the same time, and that's not the way that my brain operates. So every once in a while I'll kind of like slow down, but I'm just trying to read all of your comments. I'm trying to read them all, but it's hard. So let's see. Dribble Drive Dog says Mortal Kombat. Yeah, there's a new trailer for a Mortal Kombat movie, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks sick. I thought it was gonna be terrible. Usually video game movies are just the worst ever. The Mario movie comes to mind. It's like one of the most cringeworthy movies ever created, and it's just weird. I actually own the movie on DVD. I think I stole that from Blockbuster, actually. I'm not sure. No, I didn't. I bought that one. Not that I ever condone stealing from your employer, but it's such a bad movie. It's so bad that like you watch it because you can't look away. It's like a train wreck. Sleeper Johns says, what's your opinion on eliminating career politicians? Should we bring in a younger generation of politicians with the same term limit as presidents? Yeah, that's a really good question. I think we should. I think that term limits would make a difference. Now, prior, like in my graduate school days, I was actually really hesitant on term limits because political science studies, at least from Mexico and some Latin American countries, showed that when you get rid of term limits, it actually increased corruption because politicians only became focused on like short-term advancement of their own careers. So when they got to Congress, they would then be looking about what they're going to do next, become a lobbyist or whatnot. And also another downside was that if you're only going to be there for like 4 years, then you're not going to be thinking about long-term policy like climate change, something that you pass now that has an effect in the future. And so if politicians don't have the capability of taking credit for something, then perhaps they wouldn't want to do it. So I was always skeptical, although my position on this has evolved in that right now in the United States, there's so many politicians who have served for like, and I use serve charitably, who have served for like 1,000 years, that I think they have to go. So I have come around to term limits. I think it is important. It's not like the most important thing because I don't think it's the driver of like what's wrong. I think capitalism and money in politics is ultimately, but I do support it. And I think that what you're saying in terms of like getting younger generations in there, that would honestly make a huge difference. So Beezus H. Christ says, Destiny's policies are based on spite-based ideology. Yeah, I can't speak to that. I don't know enough, so I don't want to speak badly about Destiny. I've only seen clips that circulate online on Twitter, and so like I can't necessarily say that I have enough knowledge about his ideology based on that. I don't know if he's been taken out of context. I see clips and I vehemently disagree. So yeah, I just don't know enough about him. I know that him and I disagree. But I respect that he is a really talented speaker, and I like when he was de-radicalizing members of the alt-right. I don't like that he is pretty antagonistic towards the left, but to be fair, I'm pretty antagonistic towards the center. So, an eye for an eye, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so let's see. Breach Lover says, have you watched the movie Amend the Fight for America on Netflix? So good, I learned a lot and had many mixed emotions, mostly angry at American history on the 14th Amendment. I haven't, but I will make a note of that because I am kind of in a show hole currently. Had to enunciate a little bit better. Yeah, I haven't watched a lot, so let's see. It was called Amend the Fight for America. Yeah, I'll take a look, because I need some good documentaries. Al Mastery says, I love your show, Mike. I watch your video every time I go to work, and sorry for my bad grammar. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. And don't worry about the grammar. Not an issue at all. That's awesome. Let's see. Psoriasis channel says, hi, thanks for the live broadcast. You're very welcome. I'm sorry that I'm not bringing any interesting topics here. I kind of just wanted to, for those coming in late, I just wanted to basically test this out and see if I can get Streamlabs up and running. Again, I'll share the link to my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Humanist Report. If you follow me there, there's about a 30% chance that you may see me stream a video game this weekend. Not sure. I may. It kind of depends. We'll see. Let's see. Let me go back through these. Mike, what is your favorite anime? I don't watch a lot of anime, so I'm going to have to just default and say Dragon Ball Z, because who doesn't like Dragon Ball Z? I actually have the entire series on a box set on DVD. Yeah. So Mari, hey Mari, with a 1999 super chat. You're too kind. That's too much. I feel bad now. Did you get in touch with Katie Halper? Would love to see y'all together. Also, my significant other got stuck in the same spot on the freeway for 9 hours yesterday, driving from Texas to NOLA. He slept in his car because all the hotels were booked. Wow. Okay, I haven't talked to Katie Halper yet. Thank you for reminding me. I will reach out to her because I totally spaced it. So for those of you who don't know, Mari is one of the folks who I talk to frequently on the live chats that I do, monthly live chats on for Patreon folks. So that's how I'm getting like this follow up. But yeah, I'll reach out to Katie. That is horrible. That 9 hours. That's like my biggest nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm stuck at like a red light for too long, I start getting anxiety. So it's yeah. That sounds horrible. I feel really bad for them. So Nicholas Garcia says, also, here's a website when you can learn more about the PRO Act to help with your research. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to actually pull that up right now because I want to make sure that I get this. Pass the PRO Act. Not saying I'm going to cover it, but if I can find a way to shoehorn it into a discussion or bring it up, then I will do that because... yeah, anything that's pro-union is incredibly important. Okay. Ben Riley says, if the RNC is weakened by a third party and the Democrats absorb the remaining neocons, could progressives take over the weakened RNC since there's less barriers in their party? P.S. You got my mom to love Bernie. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for saying that. That's incredible. It's hard to say. I don't know. In theory, it could happen. But I don't know how that's going to pan out. It's because we're talking about like substantial party realignment. And I don't necessarily know if it would bear out that way. So it's hard to say. I talk about this in the Trump third party video. So definitely check that out where I kind of give you my insight. That's kind of hard to predict. So I don't necessarily want to say because I don't know. But yeah. So Attack on Titan. Yeah, I haven't seen Attack on Titan. I'll have to check it out. Leon says, stream me murdering you on Mario Kart. Am I a masochist now? That sounds terrible. I'm only gonna stream games that I win. I'm just kidding. Hi Mike, tell me why we shouldn't boycott Amazon. Look, if you want to boycott Amazon, then I think that is absolutely reasonable. Certainly reduce the amount that you purchased on Amazon if you can. Although, if you really want a boycott to be effective, you have to organize. Like individually, at the individual level, you don't make much of a difference because they're not going to see a dent. But if they actually see a significant boycott, that is how you really make a difference. So if you are like getting something that's on Amazon that you can't find anywhere else, I don't think that makes you a bad person. If you buy on Amazon, that doesn't make you a bad person. Like, there is no ethical participation in a capitalist system. It's all terrible. So there's not a lot that you can do. Because if you boycott Amazon and you buy on some other seller, odds are they're going to be also terrible, just in different ways. So it's really difficult. Like actually doing a boycott. If socialists were to boycott every unethical, exploitative company, we would have nowhere to buy from. Like, I was shocked when I learned how many brands the Koch brothers actually own, like different paper towel brands and whatnot. Like, we think of them as being like extractors of fossil fuel, but they also own, I don't know if it's Downy or Brawny. They own everything. Like, their hands are in all kinds of cookie jars. So, yeah, it's difficult to actually affect change via boycotts unless they're like really substantial. I'm gonna have to take a break because I need to go to the bathroom, but I will be back, and we will hear from DJ Jesse Lee Peterson. Oh shit, you know what? This is not the Jesse Lee Peterson version of the song. But regardless, I think you guys, if you listen to my outros, this is usually the song that has Jesse Lee Peterson ad-libbing in the background. So I'll be right back, folks. Okay, I'm back. Thank you all for waiting. Let me go through the YouTube Creator Studio so I can see if I missed any of the chats. Because if you sent a super chat while I was away, I want to make sure that I get it. And I think they moved where the super chats are. So there's still one that's up. I'll check in a second, but there's still one that's up. I don't know if I got to this one. Okay, so Gabe Hunkin says, you were talking about video games for a second, but I feel that the big corporations are beginning to do the same with games that they do with us in real life. I speak for the Call of Duty players and SBMM. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if you've heard of Jim Sterling, Jim/Stephanie Sterling. They go by both now. They do games on they do videos of the impact of capitalism in video games. They talk about, loot boxes, microtransactions, the predatory nature of the industry, exploitative practices, sex abuse within the industry. Phenomenal channel that I would highly recommend. Like, Stephanie is a socialist, and they really, like, they have it down. Like, nobody does what they do, so you have to watch them. If you enjoy video games and you're anti-capitalist, definitely watch Stephanie. Okay, I found a way to bring it up. Let's see. So I don't think that I missed any. I think that's it. Ben Riley says, I took her phone and made her subscribe to you. Okay, so we're talking about your mom, who I got to like Bernie, right? That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so Caleb Shipley says, Big Bad is gone. Have some money. I'm guessing that you're referring to Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, I didn't talk about that, but isn't that great news? Like, Trump's out of office. Rush Limbaugh is dead. I was going to call him Rump. Yeah, that's really great news. Definitely cause to celebrate. I don't feel bad about saying that because Rush Limbaugh is such a bad person that he literally made fun of gay folks who died of AIDS. Like, that's who this person is. Like, horrible. Just like the worst human being imaginable. So, burn in hell, bitch. Rest in peace. In piss, excuse me. So, yeah, I'll answer some more questions here. Coke's own Georgia Pacific. Yeah, they own it. They own so many corporations. If you wanted to, like, honestly boycott the Koch brothers and the Coke industry, they own so many different, like, companies in different sectors of society, like foods, toiletries, and whatnot. It's insane. I was also relieved when I learned he died. Yeah, I agree with Sparkly Unicorn here. Hearing that Rush Limbaugh was dead, the first thing that popped into my head was like the crab dance, the celebration song. That was on repeat in my head all day. If a piece of shit dies, I don't feel like we should be worried about celebrating that. If they're genuinely doing bad in the world and ruining people's lives and spreading hate and misinformation, fuck them, right? I don't give a shit. We all die someday, all of us. So I'm not going to deify someone because they're dead or, not speak ill of them because they're dead. If you're a bad person, then fuck you and fuck Rush Limbaugh. I'm a Fuel Chuckwenai. I probably butchered your name. I'm so sorry. With the super chat saying, hey, Mike, big fan of your show. Thank you so much. Keep it up. Are you going to talk about Governor Cuomo and his cover-up of COVID nursing deaths? I may talk about that. There's a lot that I've missed with states, Gavin Newsom, Andrew Cuomo, Ron DeSantis lately, and so I may talk about that. I need to get caught up. It's really difficult to talk about everything because if I'm going to do a video like that, I want to make sure that I do a lot of research. Although that one it's pretty straightforward with what is his name? Andrew Cuomo. Chris Cuomo is the CNN one. I may talk about that, though. We'll see. But Mike, when Trump ever dies, will you have a fireworks celebration live stream? I may. That could be. Yeah, that could be a thing that we do. Vino, I'm butchering the fuck out of your names. I'm so sorry. It is baffling how Trump somehow managed to turn Russia's death about the election during the interview. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. So I retweeted someone, maybe it was Jordan Uhl. He basically shared this clip of Trump where he's eulogizing Rush Limbaugh and he's making it all about him. He's talking about how Rush was really mad that they stole this election from me. Rush thought that I was treated so unfairly. Like, imagine taking somebody else's death and making it completely about you. Like, Trump, he is incapable of thinking of anyone but himself, even his friends. I thought that was hilarious. It was a good way to honor Rush Limbaugh. So touching. You're back. Cool. Yes, I'm back. I'm not sure how much longer I will be back for. Because again, this is kind of just like a test. I do plan on doing more, like topical live streams in the near future. I'm saying that now, but it probably won't happen. But that is the intent, at least for now. But the one thing that I'm missing is I want to be able to play audio from my desktop, and using Streamlabs, you do need a separate plugin for Mac. So that's going to be something that I need to look into and figure out. And I'm sure it's going to not work. I'll look into it, because I want to do more stuff like that. Like, I think it would be really cool to watch videos and pause it and react in real time on these live chats. Okay, Jeremy Major says, there should be a literal test politicians should take to demonstrate their capacity to serve, would weed out Boebert and Taylor Greene types. Agree? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, because I don't know if there's any objective and impartial measures that would gauge whether or not somebody is capable of serving. Perhaps it would weed out the extremists, depending on how you crafted the test, but also it can be used in nefarious ways as well. Like, when I think of a test, I think of ways that Republicans would use it to weed out people of color and, more socialist types. So it's really, really hard. I'm not sure if that would work, but I do understand the concern of absolute psychopaths like Lauren Boebert. Or Boebert. I don't know how you pronounce her name. I've been saying Laura Boebert for the longest time. I just found out recently that it's Lauren. It doesn't matter. But yeah, these folks are crazy. Andrew Ritoske says, who do you think will run or should run for New York governor? Jumaane Williams or Ron T. Kim? I'm not sure. I'd have to see what the field looks like, but between those two, maybe Jumaane? It's really hard to say, though. I'd have to look into it. I know that there is a New York City race going on, a mayoral race with Andrew Yang. I am supporting the progressive in this race, who is not Andrew Yang. It's Diane Morales. I think that's her name. She has a really solid platform, although Andrew Yang is polling ahead of everyone by a lot, so yeah. So the progressive voice is in the chat. He says, hey man, did you know David Doyle is Justin Trudeau's nephew? I did not know that. David Doyle is going to have to do some splaining, because that's pretty scandalous. And by the way, progressive voice, you need to go live more, because I'm a fan of your live streams. They're very chill, and I kind of just put them on in the background while I play video games. I love your live streams, so keep up the great work, bud. Otis B says, much respect and 100% in agreement. I'm overjoyed we no longer have the trash known as Rush Limbaugh among us. Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. I'm not implying that if some random Trump voter dies, that would be a good thing to celebrate. But the people with gigantic platforms who have power, who are rich, who actually did harm in the world, if they die, I'm not going to be quiet about celebrating. I used to not be this way. I used to be very lib in my sensitivity and would think, oh, well, Scalia died, so I don't like him. I don't agree with him, but I feel bad for his family. No, fuck you. Fuck him. Fuck his family. Fuck all of these ghouls who are actively making the world a shittier place for so many people. Chris Thomas Conway says, thoughts on separating not just religion and state, but also market and media. I see any combination of those for as intrinsically corrupt and harmful. Yeah, that is a phenomenal point. It's hard to conceptualize what that might look like in the short term. But yeah, absolutely. Capitalist media sources, they're businesses. Their goal isn't to deliver the news and educate and inform. Their goal ultimately is to make money, to look out for the bottom line. And that's an issue. That is an issue. So yeah, I think that is an issue. So Ben Riley with another super chat. Ben, you don't have to send that many. I feel bad. I don't want you to to send all of these super chats. Okay, so Ben Riley says, pro tip, a good way to tell an honest actor from a dishonest actor is that the former will give prescriptions and the latter won't. Example given, Crystal Ball advocates for something, Medicare for all. Sagar never gives policy. Yeah, I totally agree. I love Crystal Ball. I think that she's so, like, she's smart. She's great. Sagar doesn't explain his policies. Like, I bought their book, the populist book that they published. I don't remember the title of it. And I kind of wanted to know, like, what is right-wing populism? Like, what policies do you support? Because I don't think that right-wing populism is a thing. And my takeaway from the book, I haven't read the entire thing, but I read, like, partially through a chapter of Sagar's, and there's no substance. Like, I don't know what you stand for. I don't know what a right-wing populist is. And for me, like, I'm fine with, like, leftists being populist, but at the end of the day, I'm not actually very populist. Like, I think I'm fortunate enough to have the policies that I support be popular, but at the end of the day, like, I don't base my support on a policy on whether or not it's popular. I base it on whether or not it's moral and what the policy effect will be. Because what is popular sometimes is unethical. Like in fucking 2004, all these states were passing bans on gay marriage. That was really popular at the time. But it was immoral. So it kind of depends. Like, if a policy is popular, like Medicare for all, I'm absolutely going to cite its popularity to bolster my argument in favor of it, but that's not going to be like the reason why I sell it. The reason why I'm selling it is because I think that Medicare for all, as an example, is objectively better policy and would save lives. So that's kind of my take on it. Red Moon 714 says, did you hear of Neera Tanden being blocked by, of all people, Joe Manchin? Yeah. Is Manchin based now? No, but look, I don't give a fuck who tanks this nomination. If it's a Republican, if it's Manchin, I'm rooting for whoever is going to stop her, because she's like a terrible person. She's incapable of working with people. If you're going to run the OMB, you have to be able to work with people. You have to actually not be corrupt, like have some ethical, like, driver. I don't know what she stands for. Neera Tanden is a careerist. Like, if you look to her behavior at CAP, she literally outed a victim of sexual harassment. Like, who does that? Who does something like that? If you do something like that, you should never be allowed to run anything ever again. Like, she's not qualified to run CAP. She's not qualified to run a fucking McDonald's. Like, you have to be able to work with people. And she can't. She's too divisive. Everywhere she goes, she has issues. She has too many people blocked. She's a shitty person. Like, she's corrupt. So, yeah. So, let's see here. Progressive Voice says Crystal Ball sucks. I disagree. I like Crystal Ball. I don't agree with her on everything, but I don't agree with anybody on, like, 100% of the issues. So I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and if they're allies, I try to, like, give them some space, give them some room to, develop their political ideology and vocalize disagreements that they may or may not have with me. We don't have to agree on everything, but I think that overall, Crystal Ball, what I've seen, I really like her content, especially during the primaries. I thought that she was just like a breath of fresh air, and she kept me sane during the primaries. Although I disagree with her on some things. Sahil bringing the fire. Sahil always brings the fire. So Leon says, I have my criticisms of Crystal, but I'm with her more than 85% of the time. Yeah, and that's all that you can really ask for. Like, a lot of people are going to... Look, let me just put it this way. Politics is inherently divisive. And so you're never going to agree with someone 100% of the time. In fact, you shouldn't. If you agreed with anyone 100% of the time, that would be weird. That'd be kind of culty. Like, I wouldn't expect a serious person with their own viewpoint to agree with anyone 100% of the time. So my philosophy is, if I agree with someone 85% of the time on the policies, they are a potential ally. It depends on other factors as well, not just policy, but like the way that they believe we should, like, carry out change, what their strategy is and methods. But, if I agree with you 85% of the time, that's pretty solid. 90% of the time, that's really solid. So yeah, that's my hot take. Let's see. Okay. What's been bad about Gavin Newsom? I think that is for Californians to talk through because he's not my governor and I don't necessarily know. But I mean, he's your standard corporate Democrat. As an outsider, you can see he is an opportunist. He's a careerist. He's a corporatist. He's just all around. He's bad. It pisses me off that he was like dining indoors. He was seen without a mask, and now Republicans are using that to like hypocrisy shame Democrats. And it's like, you have to lead by example. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It's just, yeah. That's my take on it. Mari says, I generally like Rising, but when they talk about culture war, I feel like they sometimes dismiss social issues. That's why I like your show best. You actually stand up for trans folks, for example. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I would say that I put a bigger emphasis on culture issues, on, for lack of a better word, identity politics. But it's because identity politics and class issues, economic issues, they are inextricably linked. Like, you can't disaggregate these two things because ultimately identity politics is economic. Economic issues does like tie back into identity politics. So I think you really have to balance them both out. And just in general, like standing up for marginalized communities, I think that is exactly what leftists need to be doing. You know, trans comrades need us to fight. Like when I was growing up, I was really thankful for all of the straight allies that stood up for gay people. I really, really valued them because I thought they were effective at convincing other straight people that gays aren't icky. So I feel like as a cis person, I have to use my privilege to stand up for trans allies and convince other cis people that, you know, their identities are valid, that these are human beings that deserve our respect. Let's see here. So I like Bree Joy Gray and Hassan Piker. This is from Ben Riley. Yeah, I totally agree. I love them. I've recently, over the past like couple of months, I've really become a huge fan of Hassan Piker's streams. I watched some of his gameplay videos on Dark Souls, and it's really funny because he like totally expresses all the anger I feel when I was playing some of those bosses. And it was great to see. Like there's the what was it in Demon Souls, the Flame Lurker. He was playing that, and he was getting pissed off, and I felt the same way. So it was nice to see like that frustration like replicated. And I didn't feel like I was extra shitty at it. Okay, I'm running out of steam here. Live shows are really, really tiring, especially when you don't have an agenda. Because I'm kind of just flailing and not talking about anything. That's what I've heard about his streams. Yeah, absolutely. Although I do really like the Bad Faith podcast. I haven't watched a lot of it. Like, I don't have a lot of time to watch shows. So when I do get to watch another commentator, it's when I've already talked about something that they're talking about. So for example, like if I'm going to talk about something, and I'm always like the last to talk about shit, but if I'm going to talk about a really popular subject, I'm going to avoid every other independent content creator, because if I watch their content, I don't want to like pick up what they're saying and end up using their arguments, like even subconsciously. Like I don't want them to influence what I'm going to say, because I feel like my content that I put out, it should be like my unadulterated opinion. So I don't watch their takes on something until after I put out that video. If they're not going to talk about something, then or if I'm not going to talk about something that they talk about, then that's a different story. Mike, you should have Vosh on. Yeah, I love Vosh. I think that eventually that is going to happen. I do want to bring on more, I think, interesting figures, like Professor Richard Wolff, others, perhaps other commentators like Vosh. Yeah, definitely. I think that Vosh is super, super sharp. Listening to him, not only is he entertaining, he's informative as well. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of Vosh. I love his content. Okay. I really want to know your opinion on independence for Puerto Rico. It's a left-wing position on the island, but for some reason, progressives in the states want statehood. There is so much incongruity here. Yeah. My position on Puerto Rico is that they need self-determination, that it's not up to me. I would love for Puerto Rico to be a member of the United States, but that's not up for me to decide. That's up to them to decide. Now, having said that, they did vote in November, and I think it passed marginally to begin pursuing statehood. But really, it depends on the person. I used to talk to someone from Puerto Rico, and I think that he was kind of mixed on statehood. I don't know. I don't know what his take was on it, but yeah, it depends on the individual. There, it is really like what I've seen. It's not left to right. Everyone is kind of all over the place. But I personally, my preference is I would love to have my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters be part of the USA, but that is not up for me to decide. That's up to them. So Jacqueline de Blue sends a giant super chat saying, I loved Crystal during the primaries, disliked her, and hated Sagar during BLM protests, and kind of like her again. I wish I could like Sagar because I enjoy his snickering. Yes, I'm shallow like that. Anyway, love it and appreciation from London. Well, thank you so much for the 50 pounds. That's really sweet. Yeah, I think that there's going to be periods where a particular political commentator is going to say a lot of things that you agree with and a lot of things that you disagree with. The same is true for me. Like, I'm going to go on these little like paths sometimes where you're like, oh, Mike is still talking about this. I hate his take on this. It's just political commentary is inherently divisive. So you're not going to have a channel that's like entirely non-controversial if you're talking politics a lot. You're going to piss people off. You're going to have people that disagree. That's just part of the process. It's just a matter of like how much disagreement are you willing to accept, from a political commentator. It just, it kind of depends. Dried Brain Freeze sends a $5 super chat with no comment. Thank you so much. Okay, so Mike, when are we gonna see some babies? Well, if we're referring to my children, for those of you who don't know, I have a 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, and I have an almost 1-year-old. And yeah, I don't bring them on the camera. And of course, I'm referring to 2 dogs and a cat and not actual human children. But maybe I'll put them on camera. If you follow my Instagram, you kind of get a little bit of a snapshot into my personal life, although I'm hesitant to share it on a stream because it's kind of just like, well, no, I was going to say it was like mostly just like my friends and family. Like personally, I think it's opened up more, but I do post a lot of dog and cat pictures on my Instagram. I don't know what my handle is. I think it's Mike.Figueredo. If you search for me, you can find me though on Instagram, and you could get pictures of my children, who I am very proud of, by the way. So Jared Nielsen sends a $100 super chat. That is too high. That's too much. Jared, you're making me feel bad. That's like too much. I totally appreciate it, but oh my gosh, that's like mind-blowing. You guys, Jesus. I don't want you to send super chats because you think that's the only way I will answer your questions. It is convenient to see, like, because the chat moves kind of fast, but you don't have to. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Jared Nielsen says, is it possible for a millionaire or billionaire to be a progressive? Can they use their wealth to build progressive infrastructure, or ideologically, is it best to remain grassroots? That's a complicated question. When it comes to billionaires, no. I don't think it is possible for a progressive billionaire to exist, because if you're a billionaire, there's no way you were able to amass that much wealth without exploiting someone's labor, or exploiting your workers. Having said that, though, like if someone became a billionaire and then did like an about face and said, "Wow, everything I've been doing is wrong," that's acceptable. However, you don't get to keep that wealth. You have to give it away if you're adamant. When it comes to millionaires, that's tough. There's a line, right? Like, where do we draw that line? I think that it is possible for there to be progressive millionaires. There's, who is it? Dan Price, the CEO of a company, I don't remember which company, who decided to like take pay cuts to help his employees out. I don't remember the kid's name. He's like 19. He developed an app or something, and he was really popular during the primaries on Twitter. I can't remember his name, so I'm so sorry. But he's pretty progressive. How rich are you? That's the thing, right? Like, if you have $1 million, then you're really, really privileged. You have enough money to take care of yourself and members of your family, and then do something. So if you're going to be a progressive millionaire, I better see that money reinvested into communities, for causes, fund, politicians. But it depends. Like, if you have like $10 million, that's too much. Like, I feel like nobody needs that much money. Like, it's different than a billionaire, but if you're like a multi-millionaire, then it's really shaky. It depends on what you do, right? Because I feel like, okay, if you have a lot of money, then like that's fine. Like, that's not inherently evil, but how much money is it? If you're a millionaire, you better put up if you're going to be progressive, right? You better fund some causes, do things to improve the world. Otherwise, you're full of shit. It's a tough question though. Like, I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but it depends. It really depends on the person and what they do. Like Bill Gates, he wants people to think he's progressive because he funds things, but you're a billionaire. The way that you got that much money was by ripping off your employees who helped you build Microsoft. So it's hard, right? It's hard to determine, somebody's true motives. Basically, my stance is if you have a lot of money, if you're like a multi-millionaire, even a millionaire, if you don't actually put that money into work for the progressive movement, you're not really progressive. Jared Nielsen says, take my money and keep doing good work. Jared, no! Jared, that's okay. That's too much. I'm going to delete your super chat. I don't know if I can do that. I truly, truly appreciate it, but that is too much money. Listen, if you want to spend money, let me direct you to Nina Turner's campaign, ninaturner.com, or any of the aid programs that's helping Texans right now. I don't want you to think that you have to give me money to get me to take your question. That makes me feel terribly bad. But thank you so much, Jared. You're so kind. Alexis Aranda says, do you watch Some More News? Absolutely. I love that show. Cody is brilliant. And fun fact, myself, as well as Cody and Benjamin Dixon, we were all on an episode of Creationist Cat back in 2018, I want to say, together. It was a really fun collaboration. Check that out. That was actually when I first learned about Cody. And ever since, I've been a fan. I watch basically all of his videos. He's just so talented. Brilliant. Tyler Cross says, I'm going to be running for U.S. Representative in Indiana against Andre Carson. I'm a Marine vet as well as a socialist. I'm hoping to join the squad. That's incredible. That's really cool. Hopefully when you launch your campaign, I could bring you on the program. Send me an email, mike@humanistreport.com. It takes me a very long time to respond because I am swamped, but usually Twitter is the easiest way to get at me. If you tweet at me a whole bunch, odds are I'm going to see it eventually. But that's the fact that you're running is so incredible because the way that I view someone running for Congress is they're doing something that is a tremendous self-sacrifice that I wouldn't want to do. It's a lot of work. It takes dedication, time, energy, resources, and anyone who wants to do what I don't want to do, I truly appreciate it. We have Christo Avalis in the chat. We love you, Mike. Oh, I love you, Christo. Thank you so much. Your content is incredible. Mike is one of the nicest guys. Right back at you. You're a superstar. I fucking love your content so much. Like, you're one of the people on YouTube who needs to have 10 million subs because you not only entertain, you educate, and you're so fast to covering the topics that it's awesome. Like, if I want to see something that I'm not going to talk about, for example, when Ted Cruz yesterday did his whole Cancun trip, you already had a video on it, as I was learning about it, and it's so cool. I didn't watch it until after I finished mine, but you're on it, and I fucking love that. Okay, Gabe Hunkin says, any thoughts on our gubernatorial race we have coming up next year, and what are your thoughts on Kate Brown? I'm genuinely confused when it comes to how I should feel about her. Yeah, I think the default position for Oregonians is to hate Kate Brown. I actually don't hate Kate Brown. Is she a corporate Democrat? Yes, she is a corporate Democrat. That is correct. Could she be more progressive? Yes, but there's a lot that she's done that the average corporate Democrat would not do. For example, she signed a lot of pro-labor laws that really made a difference, to people in my life, to where your employer has to pay you overtime if they keep you. I don't remember the specific law, but it affected my husband directly at his job, where he was basically getting scammed by his employer, and the new law that went into effect stopped that. It was something to do with overtime. I can't remember specifically, and it was really, really important. She did that. She signed net neutrality into law, one of the few governors that did that. And also in terms of how she's handling the pandemic, people hate her here. She's probably going to lose her election because of the way she's handled it. because she's locked down the state, and it's worked. Now it sucks because like states only have a limited amount of resources in comparison with the federal government, so she can only do so much. So you lock down, and then you hope that the government is going to give that state more resources so you can distribute that among the population so businesses don't hurt. She's done what she can. I don't think she's that bad. I voted for her, and I would vote for her again. If there's a more progressive person in the primary, I would support that individual. But, you know, she's inoffensive. That's what I'll say. I think that's the best way to describe Kate Brown. Conservatives like hate her. They constantly are trying to do recall campaigns against her, and I don't get the hate boner that they have for her. Like she's not that bad. Like I don't know. That's my thoughts. It's kind of like I don't talk too much about Oregonian politics unless it's like to prop up weed and drug policy, because I think we really kill it right there. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Kate Brown, as incoherent as as that was. I'm getting if I stream for more than like an hour, not that I do this enough to like have some type of thoughts on like how long I fare. If I do it more than an hour, I usually get really tired because I suck. So Aaron Pimentel says, "Meh, I'm Ted Cruz. Meh, cheers." By the way, I don't know, maybe it was yesterday, I posted the new Ted Cruz video with that outro. I adjusted the Jesse Lee Peterson to put in Kyle Kulinski's meh, or meh, I should say. It's really good. It's really great. I saved that one. I'll be using that again. Okay. Robert says, conservatives exist in Oregon? Yes. Unfortunately, a lot of conservatives exist in Oregon. It's kind of a racist state. Like you can go just like 30-40 minutes outside of Portland in a more rural area, and you're going to see conservatives driving around with like Confederate flags on their vehicles. Yes, in the Pacific Northwest, we see Confederate flags. It depends on where you are. Like Portland is kind of like its own little bubble, but once you leave Portland and like the Tri-Cities area, it's kind of conservative. Like there's a lot of rural parts of Oregon that people don't necessarily know about. So yeah, unfortunately that is the case. Although the conservatives here, they're probably not as conservative as like a Republican from the South, for example. They're a little bit more moderate in my experience, but I mean, there's still a fair share of conservatives in Oregon. Yeah, Robert says, Gabe says, East Oregon is a conservative haven. Yeah, it really is, for sure. Southern Oregon, yeah. I mean, really, I'm from North Portland, so that's as like lib as you can get. And like I kind of grew up in this bubble, but really, once you really venture out of Portland, there's a lot of conservatives. I'll just put it short. There's a lot. Okay. Boring, Oregon is an actual town. It is an actual town. I don't think I've maybe I've driven through it, but yeah. Outside of Portland, it's so white, rural, old logging towns. Yeah, absolutely. So thoughts on John Fetterman from PA. This is a super chat from Downfall Parodies 1. Thank you so much. I like John Fetterman. I don't know enough about his politics to really have like a definitive position, but I've always followed him and I've always really agreed with his takes. I think he was one of the few people to endorse Bernie, like the few politicians back in 2016 to endorse Bernie. So I've always like really respected that, because to be a politician and tie yourself to Bernie is kind of like political suicide if you want to be a Democrat. So I do respect him. Let's see. Pitus Liker says, I didn't see your Ted Cruz video, just watched the outro. Incredible audio mixing, dude. I'm dying. Thank you. I spend way too much time mixing in these small little details in the audio, but it's so funny and I really enjoy doing it. I love it. Sam, how's it going, Sam? Without Portland, Oregon would be a red state. You're 100% correct. You are 100% correct. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so we have a conversation going back and forth. David is super calm. Are we speaking about David Dole? Because I love David Dole. David Dole should have like 25 million subscribers. He is incredible. He covers Canadian politics, American politics. He's quick to the news. He's entertaining and informative. Like, I'm such a fan of David's work. Like, he's perfect. Like, his videos are so great. Like, whenever he puts out content, it's well researched. He really takes the time. David Dole is incredible. Love him. David Dole and you are the same person. That is correct. We are actually the same person. Although, we were joking on Twitter one day, we're both Portuguese. So we could very well be related. I think that's possible. If he's like my brother or my cousin, that would be really cool. I would love that. Maybe that would help him get me Canadian citizenship faster. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to read some of your comments. How about this? Let me just double check in the... Is my shit frozen on my fucking laptop? Yeah, my laptop's frozen, so I can't look through. Hang on. Of course it's frozen. Okay. Well, I can't go back through. I don't think I missed any super chats. So if I did, then yeah, we'll see. I'm sure I'll find it. But what I'll do is I'll say put your questions, your non-super chat questions in the chat now. And I'll try to answer them, and then I will bounce relatively quickly. We'll say like 10 minutes because I'm hungry, and I wasn't planning to stream this long. I'll be 100% honest with you. I probably shouldn't admit this. I didn't think I would be able to successfully start a live stream. I'm so bad because they changed everything, and YouTube does not make it easy for you. But before I forget, I will say twitch.tv/Humanist Report. I may, there's a small chance stream a video game this weekend. I'm not sure what game. Maybe Blue Fire, maybe Sekiro. I've never played that yet. Maybe. Okay, now okay, I said questions, and then Leon comes in, dissing Domino's, calling it D-tier pizza. Leon, you're wrong about that, and you have to accept that Domino's isn't that bad. In fact, they're delicious, and their cookie brownies is single-handedly responsible for me gaining like 5 pounds over last summer, because that, when times suck, 2020 sucked, you eat your way through it, man. So I love Domino's. Fuck you. With peace and love. Cheers from a Portuguese guy, from Eduardo Vasco. Hey, thank you so much. That's awesome. I should say that I've never left Oregon though. So I'm unlike anyone else in my family because my default lifestyle is quarantine. So somebody, let me see, where did I see that? Edge's Dragon says Ghost of Tsushima, maybe. Yeah, I actually played Ghost of Tsushima. Loved it a lot. Although I can only stream PC games. I need to get, I think it's like an Elgato capture card. So I can stream from the console to my PC. That's like down the line. If I do stream enough, then I would love to stream like Nintendo Switch games. But we'll see. Like if I start streaming regularly, I think that will be worth the investment. Jeremy Majors Jeremy Majors, that's not that complicated, but it took me 3 times. Says Sekiro, I have had that game for a year now, and I have still not been able to beat it, even though I have beat every Souls game there is. Don't get sucked in. No kidding. Okay, so now I'm kind of scared. I'm low-key scared. Maybe I shouldn't play that on stream, because I beat Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and even though people warned me against playing Dark Souls 2, I loved it, and I wasn't bad at it. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say I wasn't bad at it. I was bad at it, but not as bad as I thought that I would be at it. So the fact that you're saying this, that actually does kind of freak me out. But nonetheless, it'll be fun. If I get my ass demolished in Sekiro, at least it'll be entertaining, right? Okay, so Nick Marty Rose says, I need new glasses. I can't see this shit. Says, hello from Vermont. Hey, I am jealous that Bernie is your senator. I really enjoy watching your show and hearing your perspective on progressive politics. You and David Dole of Rational National are my 2 favorite political commentators. Wow, thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say. Like, there is so many talented and smart people who do political commentary that to say that I'm like one of your favorites, that's like mind-blowing to me. Like that, thank you so much. That's so kind. And David Dole is amazing. Like, who doesn't love David Dole? David Dole is incredible. He is brilliant. Like, he's one of the all-time greats in terms of political commentary. And that's not hyperbole. Like, he is so talented at what he does. I love David Dole. Super G says, do you think Trump will be convicted of anything? No. I want to say yeah. I'm just too cynical. We'll see how, like, the New York investigation by the New York's district attorney goes. I'm not going to get my hopes up. And if something does happen where he's convicted, I'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't think he will be, though. If I'm wrong, I'll be very, very happy to be proven wrong about that. Origami Orange says, Oregon sucks. I'm so happy to leave. Hey. Oregon, the weather sucks. But I like Oregon. I feel like I wouldn't be the same if I left Oregon. I mean, this is all I know. I was born and raised here, so I couldn't ever fathom myself leaving Oregon. I love Oregon so much. So we have Eduardo says, don't be scared. Sekiro is amazing. Okay, thank you for the reassurance. That makes me feel better. I'm always a little bit weary going into a new Souls game because you never know what to expect. You know, every single game is going to have a couple of walls that it's really hard to overcome, but you always get through them. I was watching an H-Bomber guy video on Bloodborne, and he was talking about a boss from Bloodborne. I don't remember which boss it was. I don't remember the name, about how difficult it was, and how it kind of like teaches you how to play the game differently than the Souls games. And it kind of scared me, but I still really want to play Bloodborne. I only played like an hour or so. Excuse me. But I do want to come back to that because I really enjoyed what I played. It's not that I didn't like it, but I played Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, both for a couple of hours each to kind of figure out what I wanted to play. And immediately, like, I wanted to go from Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 3, so I played that. But I'm coming back to Bloodborne for sure. Baron says, play No Man's Sky. I want to play No Man's Sky. That actually looks really cool. Maybe I will play that. You know, they have Xbox Game Pass for PC. So I don't know. Maybe I can stream those through PC as well. D Wonder says, socialists unite. Absolutely. Okay. I missed a couple of supers. Let me go down. So Leon says, if you're going to get a Souls-like game, get Hollow Knight on the Switch. I actually do have Hollow Knight. I bought it on a Steam sale when it was like $5 or something. I've never played it, but I have heard that it's Switch-like. And I know that Thought Slime actually streamed himself playing it. So I'm going to have to maybe watch some of his streams or play the game and then use him for reference if I get stuck. But it does look really good. I do like 2D, like Metroidvania type games. So I may have to check that out. Dylan Jackson says, Mike, David, and Kyle are my top 3. That's awesome that I'm in your top. Thank you. That's so kind. Of course, when they say nice things about Vosh, it makes me tear my hair out. So you don't like Vosh? I like Vosh. I feel like Vosh is pretty ideologically similar, although the content is different because he's primarily like a streamer. So that's interesting. I really like Vosh's content. So I'd be curious to know why you think that. My laptop is still frozen. Well, the mouse is frozen anyways. This is like 1,000 years old, so I'm not surprised, but it is frozen. So I can't use that to go through the YouTube Creator Studio to find missing super chats, so I'm going to scroll very slowly. So Sam, how's it going, Sam? Thank you for the recommendation of Judas and the Black Messiah. That movie was great. He says, Mike, I started playing Resident Evil, currently Resident Evil 1, and then I'm playing RE2 Remake. Have you ever played the Resident Evil series? I have. I actually played the Resident Evil 2 remake last year, and it was one of the best games of the generation. It was beautiful. The graphics were 10 out of 10, and the gameplay was really fun. I think it would be kind of cool to play a Resident Evil game on stream, although I would be really embarrassed if I like let out a really high-pitched scream, because I did. Like, that shit scared the fuck out of me. I played Resident Evil 7, although I didn't finish it. There were times where I legitimately, like, I screamed like a small child, and I wouldn't want you all to see that. But maybe I'll subject myself to that one day. I do love Resident Evil. So we have Claude Ellis, just became a member. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Shawnee is Cubs fan 1. Hi, Mike. Greetings from the suburbs of Chicago. Love your content. Please do live Q&A more often. Also, I wish my two senators were as good as Bernie. Yeah, you know what? I wish my two senators were as good as Bernie as well, although I don't have it that bad. Jeff Merkley's pretty solid. Ron Wyden, 50% of the time, I think he does some really unique things and talks about issues like civil liberties that nobody else talks about. But then the other 50% of the time, he's a corrupt ghoul. Could be worse. In terms of more live streams, I do want to do more live streams. I want to make this like a regular thing, although I've got to mess with Streamlabs a little bit more. I'm kind of new to it. I want to be able to play clips in here. I think that would be really cool. So, but that is the plan, basically. Long story short, I can take a really simple yes or no question and turn that into like a 10-minute thing. That's not a good quality to have. But as I don't know if you missed it, Sean, I may possibly 30 to 40% chance stream myself playing video games on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Humanist Report. I would stream on YouTube, but I feel like the folks who subscribe on YouTube are tuning in for politics, and so I don't want to have gaming in their feed if that's not what they're into. So I'll be streaming on Twitch, and if like for whatever reason I talk about politics, then maybe I'll like upload the clip from Twitch. But that's where I want to stream. Like I don't want a giant audience because I feel like I'm not very entertaining. I'm not like someone who is quick on my toes, and so I like to think long and hard about like points that I'm gonna make. So we'll see how I stream. I could be a phenomenal streamer. Sorry, my dog is wrestling with my cat outside of the door. Okay, moving on. Alan Liu says, this is the second stream I've given you money for. Oh, well, thank you so much. Listen, I never expect that. I really appreciate it, and you totally don't have to do that. But thank you so much. If there's a cause more worthwhile of your dollars, like Nina Turner's campaign, or aid to Texas, or a local LGBTQ shelter, always direct your money to them first, because they really can use it. Because I don't want you to think that the only way I'm going to answer your question is if you give me money through super chats. It's convenient that like it puts your message up so I don't miss it, but I will still try to find questions that are non-super chat and answer them. Just FYI. So Jimmy Zappa says, fan of channels like, oops, hang on a second. Oh no, it jumped. I lost it. Oh, okay, I found it. Jimmy Zappa says, fan of channels like Amazing Atheist or Vosh. Yeah, absolutely. So I watched The Amazing Atheist now for more than 10 years. Like when I first became an atheist, it was him who kind of had the most influence on me, because I was also developing like my political and my religious identity then. I was coming out of evangelical Christianity, and I found his channel and also like Cult of Destiny, and these guys were a huge influence to me. So definitely a fan of TJ Kirk, the Amazing Atheist. I've watched him for years. Not like always consistently, like sometimes I watch more than other times, but overall I like him. In terms of Vosh, I love Vosh. Vosh is amazing. I think his channel is so great. Like there's a reason why he's blowing up on YouTube. It's because he's so talented, so sharp. Like I love Vosh. Let's see. Okay. Jeremy Major says, the Humanist Report. Mike, don't be too humble. You've got real talent. Amazing show. One of my top streams the past several months. Your episode about QAnon was Emmy material. No joke. Wow. Okay. That's like the best compliment I think I've ever received. That's so kind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think like most people, I'm probably my own biggest critic, but to hear your feedback is great. And thank you for saying that. For me, I'm really fascinated in QAnon. Somebody who I talked to, I won't share names, had family members who went from Bernie supporters to QAnon like conspiracy theorists, like full blown. And ever since I heard this individual's story, I've been really fascinated by it. Like what makes somebody become that hooked, to QAnon, or like roped into something like this. And so I think it's important that we kind of try to understand it at a minimum. So yeah, I'm glad that you find it useful. I don't know how much I want to talk about QAnon, but for now I still find it fascinating since it is affecting people's lives. Okay, so Go Artist says try Valheim. Oh, okay. I was thinking of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but Valheim is a different game that just came out. Isn't that like a survival type game? I'll look into it. How about this? I'll look into it. I'm pretty sure it's early access if I'm thinking of the right game. I think my husband actually already played this. I could be thinking of a different game. I'll look into that though. Thank you for the recommendation. Comedian WW says Disco Elysium is releasing an update in March with full voice acting. Okay. I don't know. Is that a point and click adventure? I'm thinking of a game, and I don't know if that's the same game I'm thinking of, but I'll look into that. I think that's something that I could be interested in. I don't think I've ever played a point and click game, so we'll see. Have you ever played Go or Badook? From Dennis Gaffney. I have not. Silver Charlotte says, hey Mike, I'm a truck driver and I'm always traveling to Oregon up and down the I-5 for work and hope to someday RNG encounter you. Love you, my guy. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, possibly. It's definitely possible. I've encountered viewers in the real world, and it's always super cool. Funny story though. So when I was in the grocery store, I actually got recognized by someone, and this lady who's so sweet, she kind of became my friend. She was like, hey, can I ask you a question? You look really familiar. Are you Mike from the Humanist Report? And I'm like, holy shit, yeah. Like, really? You recognize me? And she was like, yeah, I watch your show like all the time. I watch you, and she named like David Pakman, Kyle Kalinske, David Dahl. I'm like, oh my god, like you're in, like you are online. That's so cool. And we've kind of just became friends. Whenever I go to the grocery store, she's the one who checks me out. I always go find her. I love talking to her. I love hearing from her. But it's funny, right after she recognized me, I went into a pot shop in Portland like 2 days later. I went in, and immediately, like as I walked into the door, the clerk was like, hey, you're you. Where are you from? And I'm like, holy shit, is another person recognizing me? And I'm like, do you watch a lot of podcasts? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, have you ever listened to the Humanist Report? And he's like, no, but I figured it out. You're the guy who worked at Blockbuster. So I thought that like this motherfucker watched my show, and straight up he just recognized me from working at Blockbuster, and probably Subway too. When I was working, I worked at Blockbuster and Subway simultaneously. I've had like every shitty retail job around Portland. I worked at Walmart, so a lot of people will recognize me from like those jobs. So like the only couple of times I've been recognized from the Humanist Report, it's been really cool. And totally unsurprising, but I've been kind of conditioned to expect people to recognize me from Subway, Blockbuster, one of those fucking shitty retail jobs, than the Humanist Report. But either way, like it's cool to see old customers too. So hey, okay, Mr. Mosley. Oh, it jumped again. Sorry. Is my laptop still? Yes, my laptop is still completely frozen. What was the point of bringing it in here to look at super chats? Okay. Mr. Mosley says, did I miss your thoughts on Judas and the Black Messiah? You did. I talked about it briefly. I loved it. So for those of you who don't know, on HBO Max, you can watch Judas and the Black Messiah. You can sign up and then cancel it before it charges you. Just FYI, this is not a sponsorship. But you can watch Judas and the Black Messiah. It's a movie about Fred Hampton. And this is the individual who a lot of people on the left should know about. He forged a coalition with the Young Patriots, and also basically poor whites, Puerto Ricans in Chicago. This man was brilliant. He was one of the best organizers ever. And he ultimately was killed in an FBI raid. And the story doesn't necessarily follow like the particular coalitions that he made, although it talks about it, and it's fascinating, especially when he like forged alliances with like competing gangs and whatnot. But the movie really follows the FBI's infiltration of the Black Panthers in Chicago. It's such a good movie. It's gut-wrenching, but it's really, really good. I would highly recommend it if you're able to see it. If you can like log into somebody else's HBO account and get it that way, then do it. But it's such a great movie. So let's see. Sean Wise, Cubs fan, one with 199 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, have you heard about the Lyndon Cameron shooting? I have not. Is this something that perhaps I did, but I'm blanking? I'll look into that. I'm not sure. So let's see. Miat sends a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Saying, James Blunt sounds like Barry Gibb. It's horrible. James Blunt. That name sounds very familiar. I don't know. James, is he the guy that sings You're Beautiful? No, that's probably not the right. I don't know. Either way, if I don't know who he is, I'm probably not a fan. Okay. Let me scroll down. Okay, so I'm almost gonna bounce here. How about this? We'll say I will leave at 6. I'll leave at 6 p.m. PST. Okay? So I'll get in the last. So don't send any super chats because I don't want to miss it. Just if you have a question or a comment, if you want to call me a cuck, leave that right now. Because I might miss it. So, okay. So we have one from Seabass. Hey, Mike, I have a mayoral race with 2 Democrats and a Republican incumbent who won by a fluke. We are a blue area, but we are divided because there are no primaries. How can I help this socialist? No money, by the way. If you want to get involved in local politics, the best thing you do, reach out to that candidate, and I promise you, they're going to have a lot of things that they'll need help with. They are always looking for volunteers. Like, any local candidate is never going to have enough people volunteering. So the best thing, like, I can't speak to the specific needs of that candidate. Reach out to the candidate, tell them you want to get involved, you want to volunteer. Best way to do it, hands down. Okay. Raven Thaddeus says Tim Pool with a soul. Are you saying that I'm Tim Pool but with a soul? I don't know how to take that, but thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. When in doubt, you just take it as a compliment. Let's see. So, Dayman Fighter of the Nightman. Oh, you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Okay. Hi, Mike. Would you like to interview an Oregon progressive activist? If so, what's the best method to have them get onto contact with you for a potential interview? Peace, my brother. Sure, I'm always interested. Tell them to send an email to mike@humanistreport.com. I don't always get back to them fast, but that's the best method of contact. So yeah, give that a try. And it kind of depends. I do plan on keeping my schedule relatively open for different types of interviews in the near future. But yeah. So let's see. Kamari Almi says, Mike is way better looking than Tim Pool. What the fuck? I know, right? Like, you're going to compare me to Tim Pool, who literally hasn't washed that beanie for like a decade? I wash my beanies. I'll have you know. And thank you for the compliment, Kamori. Okay, so let me see here. So Katrina Bunting says, I know we're hyper-focused in USA, but can we have a talk about the foolishness in Myanmar? Yeah, that's a good question. So generally, when it comes to international issues, I don't talk about it unless it's something that is really substantial or it's relevant to the politics that we discuss. So I talked about Bolivia quite a bit because, it's relevant to the themes on my show, socialism and whatnot. But I generally tend to avoid covering other countries because it's really difficult to get objective information. Like, I don't want to inadvertently, just espouse pro-corporate media talking points from that country. Like, if I'm going to cover it, I want to do a good job. I want to come at you well-researched. So I tend to stay in my own lane. It just kind of depends. Like, I do have a lot of interest in Myanmar. I've watched a couple of documentaries on them. It's really, it's interesting how they were a police state and everyone was like hyper paranoid. It reminded me of Tunisia almost, who before they democratized in the Arab Spring, like everyone was like almost paranoid of each other. Like, you were paranoid of your own like family. That's how much of a police state they were. And so it's really, really interesting to think about like the impact that would have. And it's nice to get that perspective because, it's bad here in the US without question, but it could always be worse. So I am following the situation in Myanmar. I'm also following the farmers' protest, the rebellion rather, in India. But I don't talk about these things unless something significant happens or it's related to the themes on the program: socialism, capitalism, and whatnot, U.S. intervention. Because again, it's just, I don't want to misinform people if I, say the wrong thing. So I try to stay in my lane. So Jared Nilsson says, my mom turned full-blown QAnon. Oh my God, I'm sorry. She lives in Eastern Oregon, La Grande, actually. I don't think I've ever heard that out loud because I don't know anyone from La Grande. It's ripped our family apart. I'll support any progressive to fight this. Yeah, that breaks my heart, honestly, because the same, like, what I've heard from people who have someone who fell victim to QAnon, and I use the word victim deliberately, is the same thing. Like, it's torn apart families. It's not like any other political ideology. Like, this is such a different beast, and the more that I learn about it, the more I become interested in it, because I really want to learn, like, what makes people susceptible to this. Like, usually a lot of people who kind of already think conspiratorially are more likely than not to fall victim than others, but still, like, seemingly normal people have become radicalized by QAnon, and I don't get it, and I want to understand it. And I'm not a psychologist, so, like, I don't want to psychoanalyze these folks, but I think that it's important to learn about them and at least, like, approach them from a position of understanding so we could figure out what concerns they had specifically that led to their radicalization, because I think it's really troubling. Okay, so Nikki Dearest Gogo, aka Dancing Dragon, that is an awesome name, says, I love your show. Your reaction videos are the best. Those extra laughing clips you add in when people are being extra crazy are worth the time you spend putting them in. Respect. Thank you for saying that. Okay, so are you referring to the laughing clip with, what's his name? The one that I always use. Is it Norm Macdonald? It is. So sometimes I overuse that, but I feel like it's so perfect. Like, it captures the essence of, like, how I feel, like the exact laugh, like a good, like, belly laugh. I fucking love that clip. So I use it all the time. Okay. So Sparkly Unicorn. Okay, this is, like, confirming to me I need to get new glasses because I can barely see the text. This is sad. This is really sad. Let's see. There it is. Sparkly Unicorn says, so student loan forgiveness. What should we do to push it through in the next 4 years? Do you think it can be done? I think it can be done, but we're going to have to really, really get organized. I don't know. It's hard to, like, because I think that the easy answer to everything that we want is to get organized. And you can do that to an extent online, but during a pandemic, like, you can't show up and like, occupy an office safely. Anyways, you can't do that. And I don't want people to do that. So I think that the best thing to keep doing is keep putting the pressure on, help progressive members of Congress who actually are fighting for this get the message across. So when they share something, like Ayanna Pressley, she put out a petition, sign that and spread the word. Little things like this. It's not going to be done on Joe Biden's own volition. I think that if he does any cancellation more than $10,000, it's going to be because he was dragged kicking and screaming. So if, like, Congress passes a bill, then maybe he'd feel pressure to sign it. It's hard to say because I don't necessarily know. Joe Biden, one thing that I've learned already with him is that he's kind of a cuck. He caves, but he doesn't cave to the left. If you'll notice, he caves to centrists. So we have to copy the strategy that centrists have. I don't know what that is. Maybe throw more tantrums. I'm not sure. But look, you just keep up the pressure. That's the best that I can say, and that's not a satisfactory response. But until this pandemic is over, I just, I can't, like, recommend any in-person activism in good conscience. Like, I want to say, okay, well, we go in Nancy Pelosi's office and we protest. I don't want you guys to gather during a pandemic. I'd rather you just look out for your own health in the short term. So after the pandemic, I think that we all should commit to really organizing, getting involved. An easy way to like get involved in at least local politics is sign up for DSA. There'll probably be a local chapter. And in terms of national politics, a DSA oftentimes puts out a lot of initiatives that are very easy to get on board with. You can help them. Joining an organization that kind of like does the work for you, that is an easy way for you to get involved if you want to make a difference on not just student loan debt cancellation, but a number of issues. Okay, so we are coming to the last of the comments here, I believe, because I'm going to bounce here soon. Check out. Hey, Mike, I've been watching you since 2020 election and really love your content. That's awesome. Thank you for finding the channel. Oh, I'm glad you found the channel. Thank you for watching. Just curious, who's the worst corporate Democrat in your opinion? Oh, man, that's tough because there's so many. I'd have to say probably... maybe Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. It's a tie between them because they're kind of like the swing votes in every legislation. They have the most power. So at least for now they are. So maybe Joe Manchin, I'd have to say. But you can make the argument that Joe Biden is as well because he has the most power. Ben Riley with a $10 super chat. Ben, another super chat. That's too many, my dude. He says, Destiny is pro-reparations. That's good. I didn't know that. That's actually awesome. I'm glad that he's pro-reparations. And conspiracies happen when you have a populace that knows they're being lied to, but isn't sure what they're being lied to about. That's actually really, really, that's interesting. I studied social psychology. J. Jonah Jameson didn't pay me. That makes sense. Yeah, that's how you get really weird ideologies, and that's how you get demagogues like Donald Trump as well, because we all kind of have this vague idea that there's too much money in politics and that the system isn't helping us out. But the question is, why is this happening? And if you don't really have a grasp of the underlying mechanisms that cause pain and suffering in a material way, you can get duped really easily by conspiracy theories, by an idiot like Donald Trump. So that makes sense. Sergio Ribeiro says, what do you think of the Recall Newsom movement? I don't know why they're trying to recall him, but since I don't like him, I would be inclined to support him, or support the movement, that is, support him getting recalled. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I don't know why they are specifically recalling him. I know he's corrupt and a corporate Democrat, so there's a bevy of reasons why, but I'm inclined to support it, although I don't necessarily know that much about it, if I'm being honest. Ben Riley with another super chat. Ben, oh my God. As a dev, I'm curious your thoughts on hacktivism or hackivism. Okay, I think you're saying hacktivism, not like a political hack, but hacktivism. I'm not sure. If there's like a utility in it and maybe it can make a difference, then sure, although it sounds illegal. And I can't endorse anything illegal on the program, of course, for obvious reasons. I'll just have to remain agnostic because I actually don't know. Like, I just got a live stream running on YouTube successfully after 2 attempts. So to think about hacktivism at all, it like makes my brain overheat and shut down. So I can't. I don't know enough. I'm not like super savvy in that regard. Let's see. The Flashy Brown. Would you subscribe to Joe Biden's OnlyFans if he made one? Oh, absolutely. Who wouldn't? I would definitely be down. You know, maybe we get to see more of his hairy legs. That would be really cool. I would throw up, but you know, I would be very curious. So I think that here's the deal. We've got 1 minute left. So I will take one last question or comment. If it's a compliment of me, that's going to be bumped up to the top. No, I'm just I'm just kidding. One more question, and then I'll bounce, okay? Because I am hungry, and I'm tired. And if you want to see more streams, maybe come over to twitch.tv/Humanist Report, and you could see that. Yeah. Okay. Bernie is U.S. politics' biggest con man. Nah. Hard disagree, my dude. And who is that in your avatar? I can't tell if that's Reagan or Kennedy in your avatar. But if you like Ronald Reagan, then you don't know much about con men, my dude. But I won't make that be the last one because we need to end on a more positive note. Oh, and here's Leon coming in. Go get actual good pizza instead of Domino's. You know what, Leon? I just saw a comment. You know what, Leon? You're wrong. And I'm willing to debate you on this anytime, any day, any place. Because Domino's is not that bad. I'll die on that hill. Okay. I don't see any more questions. So having said that, Mike is hungry. I am hungry. Yes. That is correct. I love Domino's. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. Thank you. It's not that bad. All fast food is shitty. But, there's different tiers of it, right? Like, when it comes to Domino's, in terms of, like, fast food pizza, it's not that bad. It's pretty good. And Domino's, like, delivers in, like, a second. Like, I'll place the order, click submit, and then, like, they're knocking on my door already. They're so fast. So if you're hungry, they show up. Not a plug, by the way. I don't do sponsorships anymore, so I only did like 2, but you know what I mean. Okay, so yeah, I think that we're good. We don't have any more. Oh, and see, I'm getting triggered by the Domino's talk, guys. If you keep shitting on Domino's, I'm not gonna stream. I'm not gonna stream. I'm gonna punish you, and I'm not gonna stream anymore. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been just kind of a test live stream. I wanted to see if I could successfully get a live stream off the ground before I start streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/Humanist Report. And I think I have. I'm checking now, and it looks like it hasn't shit the bed. I see the chat, so yeah, looks like we're good, and everything's working. So yeah, if you want to see me play some video games, and most likely perform terribly at these video games, go to twitch.tv/Humanist Report, and I will probably play something. Again, probably shouldn't say probably, because whenever I commit to doing something, I don't do it. So I'm going to say there is a statistical likelihood between 30 and 40% that I may or may not stream either Blue Fire or Sekiro on Twitch. If I get my ass kicked, then I'm going to end that stream real fucking quick. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really care. I might play something, though. So join me over there. And yeah, maybe I'll do more streams in the future. We'll have a better setup, perhaps. I need to basically, like, look, okay. I just discovered Streamlabs and how convenient it is. I need to learn how to use it. It takes me a while to learn new software. I'm going to have my grandchildren come over and help me with this, help me set it up. But once that happens, then, yeah. And okay, Jennifer, perfect way to end. Mike's skin look like silk. That's thank you so much. Wow. You can't give a gay man a better compliment than that, honestly. Thank you so much. Why no Twitch link? Let me put it in the chat, okay? Let me put it in the chat. Mike has sold out to his corporate overlords at Domino's. I can't argue with that. Okay, I'm going to type out the link, okay? Full boomer style, not even copying and pasting. Oh, God damn it. Twitch.yv. It's I typed it out incorrectly. Hang on. Oh, I'm such a boomer. I'm laughing at my own failures. That link is going to work. I'm going to click on it to test it. Okay. Okay, my computer's too slow. Never mind. It's going to take too long. Okay, I'm going to bounce right here. Thank you all so much. Really, like, this was so much fun. It was a nice little test. And, yeah, it works. So hopefully I will have a more competent stream set up in the future. And, yeah, we'll do this more often. Thank you all so much. You all are just amazing. You're incredible. Thank you. I love you all so much. Peace.